Hey everybody, I'm Christian with the Cox Science Center and Aquarium. In recognition of the 125th anniversary of Hugh Willoughby's daring adventure across the Everglades and 75th anniversary of Everglades National Park, the 2002 Willoughby Expedition Team has set off on a 130-mile canoe trek across the same path from October 27th through November 3rd. During this expedition, they will take photos and samples of the water to test for chemistry changes, pollutant substances, specifically microplastics, and modern effects surrounding this vital water system. This team also includes Science Center board member Harvey Oyer III. Let's go ahead and check in on the team and see what they've encountered today.
Maybe our last 24 hours. So we camped the night before last on the banks of the Tamiami Canal in Everglades National Park, and we made our way east. We were joined by 3 canoes filled with environmental science students from Berlin Jesuit School in Miami. They rode the rest of the way with us. I think they probably regret signing up for it because we had 5 portages where we had to lift their 3 canoes plus our 3 canoes plus scientific equipment, all of our gear out and carry it in 90+ degree heat and humidity and put it back in the water. We did that 5 times. And I'm not sure what they thought they signed up for, but they did it and they filmed it for their school. And we arrived at their school, which is on the banks of the canal, last evening at dusk. And they were incredibly hospitable. We had our first shower in 5 days. We had our first hot meal in 5 days. And we slept on the floor of one of their environmental laboratory rooms in the air conditioning. So for us, it was an incredible night, and we appreciate the hospitality of Father Willie and all of the folks at Jesuit, which incidentally is Charlie's alma mater. So really fitting. We are in right now, about to leave and begin day 6. And again, we're taking 5 of their students and 1 of their teachers. They will go with us the entire way today. Different from yesterday for them. And then tomorrow we'll get a different set of kids. So everyone in their environmental science club gets a turn at the expedition. And this morning we did photographs of the kids and the teacher with the Willoughby flag and with the Explorers Club flag, which I think they found to be exciting. So, Charlie, what did I miss? That's a recap of the last 24 hours.
Well, you forgot that the mayor and her husband and the fire department came out to join us at our and the president of Belen, Father Willie. We're all on site at the canal bank to help us carry stuff out. And so we had a very warm reception here. It was Halloween. The mayor was wearing Halloween glasses. We got a very warm reception. They were with us for a while. They even helped us carry gear over to the house, over to where we were staying. They put together, well, before they put together the excellent meal for us, they put together excellent showers. And that was a very welcome addition to everybody. And then after that, we had a very nice meal, and we got back to technology so we could, upload things and send out things and do all the things that we can't do from the middle of nowhere. So it was a very productive evening last night, and we're ready to go on. Today's paddle is probably either our easiest or our second easiest. There's a little bit of competition between today and tomorrow because today is a little longer than tomorrow, but tomorrow we have 1 more portage at the very beginning of the morning, and we also have to go out into the bay, which is going to be a little challenging because it's an incoming tide, so we might have standing waves at the mouth of the bay, and we could have traffic issues. We're going to be escorted by the Miami-Dade County Marine Patrol, so the traffic should be okay. But it's always sketchy when you go out the mouth. But today is only about 10 miles, which is about 3 miles less than we did yesterday, and with 5 portages less than we did yesterday. So it's definitely a lot easier, and it's definitely a lot easier than the days before when we were in the grass and the weeds. So we're actually in for some nice paddling. It's kind of boring. It's all straight down canals, but we're going from here into more and more residential areas. Then we'll go by the airport, and then we'll end up on the far side of the airport. For those of you that know Miami International Airport, we're going to be under the overpass of Lejeune coming into the airport, where you turn off to go into the airport. And it's over by the fuel farms. We might do some testing over there to see if what's going on in that canal. And then the next day we just go maybe 50 yards to the last floodgate that's between the Sheridan and Melreese golf course. We portage over that, and then hey, the rest is easy.
So do you guys want us to cover anything in particular?
I had a question, Harvey. I want to know a little bit of the background on Willoughby. We haven't heard too much on him on this trip. Can you just give us a little history of why he made the trip? Did he have help? Like, what was the weather like, and what was it compared to your trip?
Yeah, good question. So he did it 125 years ago in 1897, but he did it in January when the weather was much better than it is right now in October, not nearly as hot or humid. Now, we could not do it in January, of course, because we would not have high enough water levels. The water levels are very different today than they were 125 years ago now that man has impacted, drained a lot of the Everglades.
There's estimates that just in the first cut of the Miami Canal, the Everglades dropped by about 3 feet. So, it's that big of a difference between what he paddled and what we paddled.
So your question, whether he had help, he did. He had a guide with him named Ed, and Brewer was sort of a woodsman that lived in the Miami, Florida Keys area. About him, other than what was written about him by Willoughby, but Willoughby had hired him as sort of a hunting and fishing guide and hired year to test drive Blades guide. And we think that Brewer's skill in the Everglades had a lot to do with Willoughby's success. It would be interesting to research Brewer if there is a way to research.
On Brewer, I've read reports that Brewer lived in the Royal Palm area, which, if any of you have been to Everglades National Park, that's the original place where the state park was before, created by the women's associations. And the Royal Palm area is where the Anhinga Trail is and the Gumbo Limbo Trail. For those of you that have been out there, it's a very nice, easy walk. And in the dry season, if you want to see gators, that's the place to go. The end of the Anhinga Trail, they're stacked up one on top of the other like cordwood. But that's that area in general is where Brewer lived, they say. But he was Willoughby says that he was known as a kind of dangerous man, but he was willing to entrust him because he knew the backcountry.
So one more piece of the folks will find interesting. As we were sitting in Belen last night, either Charlie or Chris asked the question, does Willoughby have any descendants?
Yes.
He does. And interestingly, Carla and Christina, your former board chairman, Matt Lawrenson, sent me an email saying, sorry, I'm late to get back to you, Harvey, but I meant to tell you that my wife is the great-great-granddaughter of Hugh Willoughby. So, longtime board chair, Matt, his wife, great-great-granddaughter. That incredible coincidence.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, that's incredible. Wow.
So we definitely need to invite the Lawrensons to our November 19th event.
I think we should include the obituary in our materials.
Yep. And the obit from her grandfather's passing even cited grandfather as a child going hunting and fishing the Florida Everglades with Willoughby.
I see where Claudia Torres's class is with us right now. Do you have any questions on the history of Willoughby for the class?
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Yes, I'm joining you with my environmental science class, and they are here ready to ask questions. One second, please. Go ahead, Stephanie. Over here.
My question is, have you guys seen
Loud.
any drastic changes in the Everglades due to pollution by human activity and recreation?
Well, Stephanie, the clearest impact of the human activity is that all the paddling we did yesterday, all the paddling we did today, we will do today, and all the paddling we will do tomorrow used to be in the Everglades. Now, arguably, the first hour or two of what we did yesterday is still Everglades. Part of it was we were just north of the eastern parklands and just below the water management areas. But even the water management areas are nothing like the uncontrolled Everglades that Willoughby knew. They're all regulated and managed primarily for our use as humans, so that they maintain the waters high during drought season so that we have plenty of water to drink, and they maintain the waters low in flood season so that we don't overflow. So it's not managed for the environment like it naturally happened in Willoughby's time. So even that isn't really what he would have seen. The stuff that we were seeing previously down when we were in the southern glades, that was much more like Willoughby would have seen it. And even that is constrained by the quantity and quality and timing of water that comes from the north. But everything that we're paddling today and tomorrow is reclaimed land. The Everglades, well, no, I overstated that. The edge of the Everglades is probably about where we're going to sleep tonight. So we're talking maybe 5, 6, 8 miles of what we paddled yesterday, and all 10 of the miles we paddled today in Willoughby's time would have been grass. And that's one of the things that's caused us to have to do the expedition the way we're doing it. We were not able to follow Willoughby's trail 100%, because we'd be going through people's backyards, and that's kind of disturbing, and it's also easier to float the canoes than to drag them. But it's all houses now, strip malls and the like. It's the world we know, not the world that he knew. But in defense of our route, if you follow it in Willoughby's map, and I've seen that some people have circulated that in Willoughby's map, he went up and to the northeast, and then he dropped back down and found another route because he couldn't get through. That place where he went up into the northeast just before he turned around was probably less than a half a mile from where we slept night before last. So we are pretty much on his route. The thing is that we were able to go where he wasn't able to go, and then after that we're taking the canal system out to the coast, which is the only way to get through nowadays.
We have another question this way. Marcelo, go ahead, it's all yours.
What inspired you to take this trip?
Yeah, I'll jump in on that. So Chris is the one who had the idea of the trip, that it was the 25th anniversary of Willoughby, and asked me if I was interested, I think, as a matter of retracing history. And when we contacted the superintendent of Everglades Park to get permission to do the trip, he introduced us to Charlie, and we wanted to do the same water sampling that Willoughby had done, plus some additional modern, more sophisticated scientific analysis. And that's when Tracy came on board. So that's how you get to the four of us today. So to answer your question more directly, it started as retracing a piece of important Florida history that I don't think anyone else has ever been able to retrace. And it has ended really in being mainly a scientific expedition.
Okay, I think that it's all for us. And thank you very much again for letting us participate in your expedition.
Thank you all for coming on to and joining us these days. It's really kind of the highlight of the day. It gets us running a little bit. It's like, oh God, we got to make our Zoom. We got to make our Zoom. And we've had technical difficulties, and it's better sometimes than others. But it's always great to have you guys on the other side of the line.
Thank you. Thank you for
let's-
letting us participate again.
If anybody has anything else, if not, we have other commitments that we have to attend to now at 9:30.
Thank you. We have to go to the next class, so I appreciate it. Bye-bye,
We have to go to
everybody.
our next class too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Thank you.
everybody. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.